So I want to present to you, Mr. President, the letter I sent to the Nobel Prize Committee. It's nominating you for the Peace Prize, which is well deserved, and you should get it.
Thank you very much. This I didn't know. Wow. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Coming from you in particular, this is very meaningful. Thank you very much, Bibi.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Suri Crowe, and you are watching the MeidasTouch Network. All right, well, that has to be the moment that absolutely proves that irony is dead. Two evil authoritarians just kissing each other's butts. As Old Man Lefty posted, Benjamin Netanyahu, a war criminal and genocidal maniac, nominates Trump, a fraud, liar, and rapist, for the Nobel Peace Prize. I have no words. Maybe someone else does. Brooklyn Dad Defiant does have words. He says, am I the only one seeing the blatant quid pro quo bullshit between Trump and Netanyahu? Trump suggests they drop charges against Netanyahu. He's referring to the International Criminal Court, which has charged Benjamin Netanyahu with war crimes. Netanyahu nominates Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize. Do they really think nobody sees this transactional quid pro quo bullshit? Well, no. Or they don't care, because anyone who is not in the cult, the MAGA cult, or who isn't a genocidal monster can see exactly what is going on here. It is beyond corrupt and depraved. And I hope that the Nobel Peace Committee throws that nomination in the trash, because that's where it belongs. Donald Trump and Bibi Netanyahu, two of today's modern era monsters. Bibi is just the smarter version of the two. So he knows exactly how to play Donald Trump like a fiddle to get him to do his bidding, from bombing Iran to now having America actively participate in Israel's genocide of Gaza. In stunning new investigative reports by the AP and some other outlets, we are now learning that the American-backed agency that is now handling food aid distribution in Gaza, which is known as the newly formed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, has hired American mercenaries / former military type contractors who are allegedly shooting at the thousands of starving Palestinians as these people are simply attempting to get food. AP report.
Testimonies and videos obtained by the Associated Press show American contractors guarding aid distribution sites inside Gaza are using live ammunition and stun grenades as hungry Palestinians scramble for food. Two U.S. contractors who spoke to us on the condition of anonymity because they were revealing their employer's internal operations said they were coming out because they were disturbed by what they saw as dangerous and irresponsible practices. Both have extensive military experience. They say the security staff on site were often unqualified, unvetted, and had an open license to do whatever they wished. Their testimonies, combined with videos, text messages, and internal reports seen by the AP, provide a rare glimpse into the workings of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, the new American organization backed by Israel to provide food to the Gaza Strip's population. Journalists have been unable to access the sites, which are located in Israeli military-controlled zones. Since the GHF sites began operating about a month ago, Palestinians say Israeli troops fired nearly every day toward crowds on roads heading to the distribution points through Israeli military zones. Several hundred people have been killed and hundreds more wounded, according to Gaza's health ministry and witnesses. The military has repeatedly said it's fired only warning shots, denies deliberately firing toward civilians, and says it's looking into reports of civilian harm. AP's reporting reveals what's actually happening on the sites themselves. The two contractors say their colleagues regularly used bullets, stun grenades, and pepper spray on the sites. Videos that one contractor took during the first 2 weeks of distributions appear to back up the frenetic scenes they described. In some videos he filmed, men in gray uniforms, which he identified as his colleagues, can be seen dispensing tear gas and throwing stun grenades that land amid the crowd. The sound of gunfire can be heard. They can later be seen trying to clear Palestinians squeezed into a narrow, fenced-in passage leading to one of the centers. One photo shared by the contractor shows a woman lying in a donkey cart after he says she was hit in the head with part of a stun grenade. Another photo shows a Palestinian crying after the contractor says he was tear-gassed in the face. In another video, what appear to be heavily armed American security contractors at one of the sites discuss how to disperse Palestinians nearby.
I got IDF tank posted on the northwest corner now. Brought him in and talked to him. Let's do the show first. I told him to hold there. I don't want this to be too aggressive.
At that moment, bursts of gunfire erupt close by, at least 15 shots.
I think you hit one.
I don't even know what to say. I have seen that clip multiple times now as I've been working on putting the story together, and it is disturbing to my core every time I see that. Only a psychopath would rejoice at shooting other human beings for sport. It's just blood curdling. Of course, the IDF claims that they are not deployed at these food aid sites. How convenient. But the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, have a long track record of lying about everything. SRS, which is the agency that the Gaza Humanitarian Fund hired to bring in these contractors. And again, the GHF is funded by $30 million of our U.S. tax dollars, and the rest of the funding, very opaque. So it's dark money for sure. Well, SRS told the AP that they're just trying to manage large, hungry, I would use the word starving crowds.
In response to our reporting, SRS, the company that handles the operations logistics, acknowledged that it's dealing with large, hungry populations, but said the environment is secure, controlled, and ensures people can get the aid they need safely. The GHF says its team is composed of experienced professionals and warned that there were people with a vested interest in seeing GHF fail. UG Solutions, the security company that hired the contractors, said it has an extensive recruiting and training process, including a detailed application process, screening by experts, reference checks, background checks, and weapons proficiency. But the contractors who spoke to the AP painted an entirely different reality.
Now, I am familiar with the way Eric Prince's rogue Blackwater operators worked back in the day, and I would bet dollars to donuts that this operation is very similar, and professional would not be the way I would describe those type of people. Anybody who's going to be yelling, hell yeah, I hit one, about shooting a human being is not professional. They're clearly not operating within, the rules of war. But apparently they don't have to because they're mercenaries, but they're committing war crimes, no doubt. One Palestinian told the AP, we have come here to get food for our families. We have nothing. Why does the Israeli army shoot at us? Why do you shoot at us? Now, before the GHF took over, the United Nations and other NGOs handled food aid distribution in Gaza. But Israel demanded a stop to that because the Israeli government accuses Hamas of siphoning off all of this food aid. This is why they've been blocking food aid to Gaza for months and months and months. That's their excuse anyway. However, the UN and other NGOs deny that that was actually a significant problem. What the UN and other NGOs say is that Israel is actually weaponizing that food distribution.
But really, Chris, the issue...
Media has absolutely sane-washed the evil shit that the Israeli government has been doing for decades and the US government's complicity. That's why I think that this story is so important and we need to spread the word because our tax dollars are supporting this. And no one lays out the case better than Senator Bernie Sanders.
Of Congress roll out the red carpet for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Let us remember that Netanyahu has been indicted as a war criminal by the International Criminal Court for overseeing the systematic killing and starvation of civilians in Gaza. These war crimes continue to this day. Netanyahu's extremist government has killed more than 57,000 Palestinians and wounded almost 135,000, 60% of whom are women, children, or elderly people. Hundreds of thousands of people are starving after Israel prevented any aid from entering Gaza for nearly 3 months. In the last 6 weeks, Israel has allowed a trickle of aid to get in through a private foundation backed by security contractors. This has been a catastrophe, with near-daily massacres at the new aid distribution sites. In its first 5 weeks of operation, 640 people have been killed and almost 5,000 injured, while trying to access food through this mechanism. A coalition of more than 200 NGOs said last week that, quote, Palestinians in Gaza face an impossible choice: starve or risk being shot while trying desperately to reach food to feed their families, end quote. The Red Cross reports that Gaza's hospitals are overwhelmed by a, quote, relentless surge in critical cases, end quote, from these daily massacres, and that medical facilities are running out of body bags. The Israeli newspaper Haaretz interviewed Israeli soldiers posted to these distribution points, who say they are ordered to shoot into crowds of civilians who posed no risk. One soldier said, quote, it's a killing field. Where I was stationed, between 1 and 5 people were killed every day, end quote. Netanyahu's extremist government is also preventing baby formula from reaching hospitals, meaning mothers who have been starved for months and cannot breastfeed their infants have no alternative but to watch their children slowly starve. This is the man that Donald Trump and Congress are welcoming this week, a war criminal who will be remembered as one of the monsters of modern history. Given the corrupt nature of the American political system, where billionaires are able to buy elections and heavily influence legislation, it will not be easy to stop U.S. military aid for the Netanyahu government. But that is exactly what the American people want us to do, and that's what we've got to do.
Killing field, a killing field. My God, these are human beings. I appreciate those whistleblower military contractors for calling out this evil that is allegedly happening over there. I mean, you saw the video. The American people, hell, the world needs to know what is going on. The IDF can lie through their teeth. This SRS agency can say, oh, we hire only the best, nothing to see here. Liars. While Netanyahu and Trump are kissing each other's ass over gold-plated dinners at the White House on our tax dollars, this is what our government is supporting. It is despicable. And, it's not just Republicans who are all in on the corruption that the Israeli government does. It's Democrats too. I strongly urge you to go to AIPAC Tracker, which is trackapac.com. Punch in your representative's name, whether in Congress and the Senate. You will be freaking shocked to see how many members, obviously not just on the Republican side, but on the Democrat side, are on the payroll of AIPAC and the Israeli government. So of course they're going to be supporting arming, Israel more. And they're not going to stop it. As long as they're on this heavy duty payroll from AIPAC, you think they're going to really stand up and say, oh, we need to stop this evil that's happening right now? That is how you know who politicians are beholden to. See who is supporting them financially. That's why I love AOC. I love Bernie Sanders. Anyone who is forthright and says, I do not take lobby dollars by X, Y, and Z. Because when you see people, and I'm not just picking on these two, because many, but Schumer's had over $1 million in AIPAC donations. Hakeem Jeffries, same, on and on it goes. Then you know who they answer to. Like, this is not okay. This is rogue nation shit. We should not be supporting this with our tax dollars. And I know that Trump is the most corrupt. So clearly he doesn't care about ethnic cleansing, but I certainly do. And I would wager that most of you watching do as well. So let your representatives know this is not all right. We're not down with this. My God. Anyway, spread the word, because this is a really big story and I haven't seen it, spread far and wide. And a really good job to the news agencies that uncovered this. It's fantastic investigative reporting, and bravo to those contractors who came forward. And I'm sure, at risk for their own safety. All right. Thanks for watching. Please follow me on my socials below, and I will see you back here soon. Okay. Peace.
The truth is more important than ever. Check out our new Truth Over Lies collection at store.MeidasTouch.com. All 100% USA union made.